So give us a little bit of the geographic location.
Well, what's cool about our position is the fact that because we're right on the banks of the Orcia River, above being fortunate enough to be in the commune of Montalcino and being able to produce Brunello, we're in the heart of Val d'Orcia, which means UNESCO World Heritage Site, a protected natural park in Italy. So all the wines we make are made from grapes grown in a natural park.
Welcome to another episode of On the Road Edition, hosted by Stevie Kim. Each week, Stevie travels to incredible wine destinations, interviewing some of the Italian wine scene's most interesting personalities, talking about wines, the foods, as well as the incredible travel destinations.
My name is Stevie Kim. Welcome to the Italian Wine Podcast. This is the On the Road edition, and look at us. Look at our surrounding. We are in this amazing place called Col d'Orcia with, of course, Ernest Hemingway lookalike, Count Francesco Marone Cinzano, and baby Cinzano, Santiago. So welcome, and we will be talking to them about Col d'Orcia and everything that surrounds Col d'Orcia. So welcome.
Thank you. Welcome to Scondotto, Stevie. I'm really happy to have you.
Yeah, so what about Col d'Orcia? Why is it called Col d'Orcia?
It overlooks the river. It's an oasis,
So the river is called Orcia.
or the Orcia River,
Yeah.
one of the rivers that sets the boundaries of the Montalcino territory. And the property borders with the river on the bottom side, and on the upper side with the village of Sant'Angelo at the top of the hill. So we are the farm of the Sant'Angelo Hill. And this hill has been farmed for many, many centuries.
How many centuries? Many centuries. For Americans, those are a lot of centuries.
The first news go back to the 13th century, and at that stage, the hill is a large farm which is owned by the most powerful family in Siena, the Tolomei. So you come to believe that it was in the hands of the Templar monks, and when they were disbanded, it ended up in the hands of the most powerful banking family of Siena, 13th century, 14th century.
So give us a little bit of the geographic location.
Well, what's cool about our position is the fact that because we're right on the banks of the Orcia River, above being fortunate enough to be in the commune of Montalcino and being able to produce Brunello, we're in the heart of Val d'Orcia, which means UNESCO World Heritage Site, a protected natural park in Italy. So all the wines we make are made from grapes grown in a natural park.
So, okay, I have a challenge for you. In 90 seconds, okay, give me a very super skinny history of Col d'Orcia, how you became to be the principal of Col d'Orcia.
In last century, in 1973, when Montalcino was one of the poorest municipalities of Italy and was losing inhabitants all the time, my father purchased this property. He celebrated his birthday here. He threw his birthday party here, so the whole family had to come. And so we started learning to love this place. And then what I call this galloping horse without a saddle that we have been riding, it's called Brunello. We've been riding it for the last 50 years. And at various stages over the years, I thought, well, we have reached the top. Now this horse will slow down. And it has never slowed down. It keeps going. And I feel like being on a wild horse without a saddle, as I said, and running in the wind. And that's how I feel Brunello has and Col d'Orcia has been for us.
Okay, so give me some facts. Give me some numbers, right?
Yeah.
How big is this estate? How many bottles do you produce? How many labels do you have? Which countries do you export to? Etc., etc.
So, total size of the Col d'Orcia farm is 520 hectares. 150 hectares are planted with vineyard.
Are you the largest?
So actually, we're the third largest vineyard owner in Montalcino. However, if you look at the number of bottles produced, we're not even in the top 10. And that's because we exclusively use estate-grown grapes. And since we're biodynamic, yields are quite lower. So big farm, but relatively small bottle production. Of these 150 hectares of vineyard, 100 are Sangiovese, and total production today is around 700,000 bottles.
Okay, how many labels?
13 labels in total.
So you said biodynamic, but I thought you were officially organic.
Well, we're certified organic. We're not certified biodynamic. We don't have a Demeter certification at the moment, but we do use biodynamics as a tool. So 500, 501 preparations. As discussed when we were in the vineyard, we don't necessarily use them every year every single plot of vineyard, but the most high quality plots see biodynamic treatments every season.
So is it fair to say you are in fact the largest organic wine producer in Tuscany, or is that
So continuous vineyard certified organic, we are the largest in Tuscany.
okay? So now there's so much history here, okay? What are the 5 things that our audience need to know about Col Dolce?
As Santiago just said, that we use only our own grapes, only our own vineyards. We like the traditional style of Brunello. The traditional style of Brunello means that we produce wines to be enjoyed at the dinner table, in pairing with food. And that's an important element for me because it's the pleasure that food and wine together give you that is part of, in my view, of the secret of longevity that for Mediterranean people. We were the first single vineyard in Montalcino, the first single vineyard to be awarded the prize as Best Red Wine of Italy with the 1997 Brunello di Montalcino Poggio al Vento. So it's also to be enjoyed these days with the old vintages because we have the largest collection of old vintages of Brunello.
How large is large? Your library of the...
More than 50,000 bottles of old vintage.
So that's significant.
That's significant. So we always invite people to come and visit here because we can say so many words and we can try and explain what Col Dolce is all about, but it's only by visiting here and touching with hand that you really understand the holistic approach. You understand our obsession with nature.
So tell me, I know you're not the only son. You have 2 siblings.
Two siblings. I'm the middle child.
But what are your siblings doing?
So my older brother studied a few different things. He studied astrophysics first, then eventually developed a passion for gastronomy. About a year and a half ago, moved back to Montalcino. He's already opened a brewery. He's using our barley to make malt. He has 4 different beer labels right now. And my sister, the youngest sibling, she lives in Holland. She works for NGOs, studied criminal forensics. So she's at
not
the
in the
moment-
family business.
Not at the moment, no.
Right. So listen, I know that you didn't always live here, right?
I was born in Switzerland, but then in 1995 I was 1, we moved to Chile. And I mean, that really formed me because until I was 12, I lived in Chile. We spent extensive time in the countryside in this very isolated area of Chile, the south
Middle
of
of
the
nowhere,
Maule.
right? But making
Middle of
wine.
Making wine in the same way we do here, within a farm, bringing back a lot of learnings because the approach in Latin America towards Pachamama, towards Mother Earth, is very different from the approach we have here.
So I have one question. It's the same question to both of you. First, Dad, what are your biggest challenges now for Brunello today?
I think Brunello needs to continue being the innovator. And that's why I'm so happy that the new chairman of the consortium of Brunello is a young person in his 30s.
How old is he?
He's 35 or...
Oh, that's very young.
Now we need 21st century concept. We need to look at the future.
Okay, so what about you? Same question. What are the biggest challenges for Brunello today?
For us as an estate, it's definitely standing out, being different to everyone else. How directly involved we are as a family. Biggest challenge we face as Brunello is, in terms of real challenge, is the fact that wine consumption globally is tangibly dropping. So not everyone will survive in terms of wineries, in terms of winemakers, in terms of labels and brands. And the people who will survive are the people who are the most flexible. Bring your own bottle night. You meet with 10 friends, say between 25 and 35, which is around my age. Whoever brings the Brunello, it tends to be that they brought the boring bottle. You definitely brought something that is prestigious, historical, has value, but it's not cool. The people who brought the cool wines are the people who brought the Trousseau from Jura or the people who brought the unknown Etna producer at 750 meters. Champagne is always cool. Burgundy today is very cool, although it's very expensive. So natural wines are cool.
Okay.
Etna is cool.
So really, the only Italian wine that you mention as being cool is Etna.
Right now, for my generation, I feel like that's where the focus is on.
Are you concerned about this?
I have seen changing drinking habits in the past. In Italy in the 1970s when we were producing sparkling wines and Italians stopped drinking red wines at lunchtime. So I think we have to be smart. We have to find a way of developing the right product within the tradition and proposing it the right way.
Okay. So now I know that you have a special project. It's called
Yes.
Lot 1.
Yes.
Okay, tell me a little bit about that.
Because of this trend, what I want to do, like every winemaker, is make a wine that represents myself, and a project that I find extremely cool, that serves also as a tool for me to bring consumers my generation to love Brunello. Because Brunello tends to have a very aging consumer pool. Part of it we can tie to the price. Not necessarily has to be drank by young people, but I want it to be inspirational for young people. So, some of the coolest labels in Jura, which we were speaking of, are today unattainable in price, but they're kind of the brands that make young people love the denomination.
So let's talk a little bit about the price. Where does Col d'Orcia Brunello fall in the grand scheme of things, in the stratosphere of all Brunellos?
Very accessible. Within Montalcino, we are the third largest vineyard, so the quantity of bottles we produce is reasonably large, and we've always been recognized by the restaurant trade, by the wine lovers, as an affordable, high-quality Brunello di Montalcino. We're not overpriced. We're not the kind of bottle you have to think 3 times before ordering because of the price tag.
So can you drink Brunello at a cooler temperature?
Yeah, wine is a drink, and you enjoy drinks better if they're fresh. So a little bit below the temperature of the room. The 16, 18 degrees Celsius is the good parameter.
And what about you?
It really depends on the temperature outside, but the way I see it, every red wine is chillable if it's hot enough outside.
In a blind tasting, let's say there are 10 Brunellos, right? How can you tell which one is yours?
I can tell which one is mine when I go back and forth on the 10 glasses are on the table, and the one that I finish first, the one that I drink first is I know that's mine.
Okay, but is there anything special about your wine which is characteristic?
Some expert drinkers, expert wine lovers recognize, for instance, a character of roasted hazelnut.
We'd both definitely recognize our. It's kind of like recognizing the voice of someone you love, but you can't really explain how. But we'd recognize it, definitely.
Okay, so give me your signature wines of the family. Which one is the flagship and your favorite? Two different wines.
The flagship is Poggio al Vento, so the Windy Heights vineyard, a single vineyard, very, very traditional Brunello, the award-winning wine of the estate. Also award-winning and very high ratings is the family wine, which is called Olmaia, and it's a single vineyard, pure Cabernet Sauvignon.
Very important wines, both of them for the family. Poggio al Vento is the first vineyard my family planted in over 100 years. Because since mid-1800s, Cinzano was a big enough company that we were working with conferitori. We weren't vignerons anymore. And in 1974, when my grandfather plants Poggio al Vento, so it marks the return of my family to being vignerons in first person. And Olmaia is the last vineyard my grandfather planted, 1985. Actually, he planted that vineyard, he never saw the wine produced, so my father dedicates Olmaia to my grandfather, and definitely the two most important labels for us.
So I know yesterday we tasted some wines. We tasted actually what you call the Glorious Five, and we'll be doing this tasting also in New York City. Would you just like to say something quickly about that?
Well, on one hand, it's a celebration of the best vintages of the last 50 years, and they all end up in five, so that's why we call the tasting Glorious Five. And it's also a celebration of our historic cellar, of our library of old vintages. So it's Col d'Orcia going to New York City for the wine experience. And
What are you pouring at Wine Experience?
Poggio al Vento 2010 from Magnum.
2010. Okay. So before we close, favorite wine pairing with your wine, Brunello, and local or international dish?
well, Mediterranean cuisine is now international. So the pairing, insofar as recipes that have the aromatic ingredients that are typical of the Mediterranean woodland that we have here, rosemary and sage and bay leaf and wild fennel and juniper. Once you use those aromatic ingredients, you will find the match in the glass.
And now you've recently been to Asia.
Yes.
Okay, so pair me Brunello with Asian dishes. I'll do the countries. Thailand.
I will do pad thai with a 2014 Brunello, this nice vertical crisp. and
Wow,
fresh.
it's an old vintage.
Yes.
What about Korea?
Korean barbecue
Yeah.
and a 95 Poggio al Vento.
Okay, and what about Japan?
Japan, our beautiful Chardonnay with sashimi, obviously, raw fish.
Okay, that's a good place to end because it's about lunchtime, and looking forward to seeing many of you in Col d'Orcia.
Thank you for visiting us.
Thank you.
Cheers, Stevie.
Ciao ragazzi.
Thank you for joining us on another episode of On the Road Edition, hosted by Stevie Kim. Join her again next week for more interesting content on the Italian wine scene. You can also find us at ItalianWinePodcast.com or wherever you get your pods. You can check out our YouTube channel, Mama Jumbo Shrimp, to watch these interviews and the footage captured at each location. Chin chin!